Hey everybody, and welcome to Nersplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric De Silva.
With me is always my co-host,
Jose
What's
Romero.
going on? Merry after Christmas and Happy New
Merry
Year's
after Christmas, homie.
Eve.
Yeah. Eve. Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up the year. We figure we should do one show to kind of encapsulate everything, talk about the last minute things that just trickled out, and maybe even talk about some New Year's hopes and resolutions for 2022.
A really good Marvel movie this year. I'm just joking. We got a great Marvel movie this year, which we'll talk about. Of course. Spider. We didn't talk about Spider-Man, so we would touch on that. We didn't get a chance to talk. You finally saw it. I think you saw it twice, right? No?
Right.
Okay, so excited about that.
Twice,
but there's a lot of stuff that came out. We're gonna talk about shows that got released, shows that ended.
Yeah.
We'll do all that, of course, as our main course towards the end. But as always, nuggets galore, because the year ends, the nuggets keep on coming in. Today we got Dr. Seuss invades Gotham. We got the confirmation of true reports that Prince Goro was hiding out on Tatooine. And of course, every nerd must have been very nice this year, because we got an amazing gift for Santa for Christmas, and that's more Michael Keaton. Glorious year. We'll talk about all that coming up. So let's get started. What do you think, Eric? Let's start with the movies first. Let's talk about a couple movies. Let's start with Spider-Man, because that was the big thing. Right? It was the
I mean, why not? People tune in for us for the greatest of nerd, and that is one of the greatest of nerd in 2021, man.
Superhero film of the year, and we're actually gonna rank the ones that got released this year from across all all studios. But yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man. My thoughts have been expressed, so I'll give the floor to you, man. You saw it a couple of times. We haven't talked about it. I know you loved the movie, obviously, that much I know. But just the floor is yours, man.
I gotta tell you, man. First and second time I saw this movie, I got teary-eyed. I'm not gonna lie, a little like not crying, bawling, like when Peter Sandler can't reach a mid-level shelf, but it had definitely felt like I got choked up, and I got little because
goosebumps, the hair to back.
Let me tell you something. Oh yeah. I mean, and it wasn't even with the whole Toby and Andrew showed up, which spoiler.
Truly not spoiler. Come on.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going in. So we'll put the banners as spoiler on everything, because I don't care. 2021's 8 hours away from ending practically, or 18 hours. So we're just gonna do this. So when Aunt May gave the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech, which she did the comic book accurate original version, which is "with great power must also come great responsibility," I got choked up as a nerd, because oh man, they did the comic book accurate one. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, I should die, because you don't teach Peter that and live to cash in your 401k. No, it is, you teach Peter that and you are going to die. There's a timer on you. It's 24. It's it's all done. And so when she dies by the Green Goblin, which, I mean, if you're gonna accentuate the ultimate death to Peter Parker, who better to do it than his ultimate villain?
Who's great, by the way.
Willem Dafoe. Everyone who's always said Willem Dafoe would be scary without the mask, they got their wish.
Yeah, and I kind of alluded to it. I didn't want to spoil it at the time, but the one thing, when he destroyed the mask, I was like, oh, this is the greatest scene ever, all time. And I mean, because the mask was the worst part about Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man. I just didn't like it. You're right. He's better without the mask. He's more menacing, and his face is come on now.
That look on his face, when they're breaking out of Happy's apartment, and Peter's just wailing him, and he's smiling. It was a creepier version of Tyler Durden letting someone beat the crap out of him. It is that so I was like, oh man, this is not right. Peter Parker can pick up a car and he's punching his screen of more. I'm like, what? No, I don't like any of this. This is say a safe word, because this is not working for me at all. But when he had his glider come in and it pegged Aunt May in the back, not through a stabbing, but just a clipping, I was like, oh, she should die now. There's no way you walk away from this. So when she got up, I was like, oh, I guess, superhero logic where you can kind of walk away from near death. But as soon as she said that with great power must also come great responsibility, I was like, oh, she's in shock. She's dead and she doesn't even know it. And as soon as it happened, I was like, oh man, I got a little choked up and the whole thing. That whole sequence from the minute that they break out till the end, it is nonstop. You are compelled to watch this movie. You can't break away from it. It is great. I loved every aspect of it. I know some people are nitpicking, like, why did Peter just say make everyone forget Mysterio's video?
That there are things like that and that did bother me. It did, which is why I put it at, I didn't put it in a first tier film. But there's so much good shit in there, I didn't care. I let it go. But there are some logic issues. Fair enough. This guy doing the magic, I didn't like that either. But it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's not a huge deal. But whatever. It's here and there. But I mean, just the third act is so great. I mean, come on. Fantastic.
I thought the third act was great. The first act is great. The middle act, the second act, was a little bit not on the same level as the first two, but it still played. I got to tell you, I put this movie on a first tier Marvel movie, but I don't put it as the best Spider-Man. To me, the best Spider-Man still has been, for the Marvel iteration, has been Homecoming. Homecoming is the best Spider-Man because he's starting out. He's still figuring things out. It's very low level. It's very personal, and there's two moments in Homecoming that still to this day I'm like, this is the perfect Spider-Man, which is when the Vulture knocks the roof down on that warehouse, and he's got to psych himself up, like, you got to do it for Aunt May. You got to do it, be Spider-Man. Like, that was fantastic. And the other one was that scene with Michael Keaton, when Michael Keaton puts together that Peter Parker Spider-Man while driving them to prom. Yeah. Like, god damn it. Like, you want to talk about a beautiful,
and why that worked.
Great Spider-Man moment. Because the acting's fantastic.
Because it's Michael Keaton, for Christ's sake. Come on.
I mean, yeah.
We could talk about Shirley, very excited, but yes.
I just said the acting's fantastic. You tell me a movie that Michael Keaton acts bad, and I go, well, that was TV. That doesn't count. Yeah, in the movie, he's excellent. So, but yeah, to me, Homecoming and No Way Home are both top tier Marvel movies, and I really enjoyed it. My kids dug the crap out of it. It got me more excited to see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness now. Like, it was great. Really, really enjoyed it. A perfect way to, like, hey, did you survive 2021?
There you go.
You deserve a treat. So here's Spider-Man, and before that, you got a little appetizer with Red Notice. And if you feel like you want to be an adult, you can watch Don't Look Up on Netflix afterwards. Ooh, and you get a perfect trifecta.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan
thank you for making it to 2021.
We won't talk about it. I mean, whatever. It was okay.
I like that one a lot, too.
Yeah, it's not for that. But either way.
Time, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, listen, and I mean, well, you mentioned best Marvel Spider-Man. Which is, you still think Homecoming is the best overall Spider-Man, period?
If you want to talk about as close to comic book accurate, yeah, I think Homecoming still hits as the best iteration on movies of Spider-Man. Because you have Tobey Maguire, number one Spider-Man, even two Spider-Man, but to me, Spider-Man number one is still better than two. Most people say two. I think two has better action sequences, but in terms of character interplay, number one is still on top. But there's stuff you got to take away. Like, I don't like the Green Goblin costume. I've accepted organic webbing. Was never a fan of it. The fact that everyone looked like they were 28 while they were in high school. I know why they did it, but I'm just like,
But what about Spider-Verse though?
Even
that's still ranked up number one for me.
Spider-Verse.
Well, just Spider-Man films in totality. Yeah.
Oh, and Spider-Man films.
Related.
Jeez. I think Homecoming and Into the Spider-Verse are tied for one, if I had to put it like that. Oh, and the reason why Spider-Verse gets automatic jump is because they have like 8 different Spider-Men with no emotional movie reference that you can really lock it. There's allusions to things like, oh, remember this in that movie, remember something like this, another thing. But they're like, now here's a bunch of you've never seen it. We're gonna make you care about him and a new character called Miles Morales. Boom. So you got to give credit where credit's doing that hustle. And I'm a sucker whenever a Spider-Man character wears a hoodie. So Miles Morales in that movie, Scarlet Spider in the 90s. It's just hoodies are my thing with Spider-Man. I don't know why it just works.
So yeah. Listen. Oh, I do want to mention one thing. Not the trailer of Doctor Strange, but the in credit scene with Tom Hardy.
With
I
Tom
didn't know
Hardy's
what to. I
Venom.
mean, at first I'm like,
Yes,
okay, and
yes.
then I really hate it because it just why set that up if you're just gonna make it go away, right? Just to leave the
Well,
Venom.
what they
I mean,
it was the cheapest way. It was the cheapest way in every sense,
everything.
financially, artistically, story wise. It was the cheapest way to introduce the Venom symbiote while still going, but in the same universe. Like it's the just way to do that. It was literally like you didn't even give it to like high school kids. You gave it to like elementary school kids and goes, how do we make Venom connect without connecting? What if it just shows up and it leaves, but like a little bit stays behind? Since that is great. You get an extra 15 minutes of recess, and here's a milk and cookie. You killed it, Tommy. Enjoy it. Let's go, guys.
Yeah,
So that
I
was
was let
the
down because we
cheapest
were,
way.
thinking, okay, they're gonna unleash cross the universes. They may still do that, right? But it just that seemed like the obvious way in. But they took it away. I'm like, well then,
I think they're still going to do that because I think what's going to happen is they're going to have Tom Holland's Spider-Man get the symbiote, become Venom, and then that's what he's able to transfer over to the
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Venomverse.
it remains to be seen. But it was, yeah, it wasn't what we thought it was. It was just weird. It just I don't know why I did that. And the fact that he's there, he wouldn't have been
Right,
there. 'Cause
right.
people who knew Spider-Man were coming through. He never knew Spider-Man, right? Am I
Well,
wrong in that?
I logic
It's
this
odd.
out,
It's
and
odd.
it's once again
Yeah.
they're going for cheap because Marvel has this thing. They have Marvel has the Occam's razor of storytelling. Whatever the simplest version is, that's what it's going to be. And their simple version was, and if you watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage, he goes, the symbiotes are part of a hive mind across universes, which means that at some point that Venom symbiote that Tobey Maguire got knew he was Peter because they're connected through universes, but they're spaced out. So that one became part of the hive mind knowledge. So that was the connection point. Is that it is flimsy, it is
It's a reach,
small,
but what I mean, it is what it was. It wasn't a huge deal. It didn't
but
affect the movie.
that's that's
It's an
the
end credit scene.
that's their like it's still in canon. It's on the wall of
Yeah,
canon, but it's
God,
right there.
they
Yeah,
pulled the rug under. That's what they did. It's like, psych. So that was a little bit let
yeah,
down. That's end
yeah.
credit scene. I don't dock the movie for that at all. It is what it is, right?
Listen. It's Sony. I
And listen,
I'm always telling you, man. Like Sony's good financially. Financially, they'll know how to make it work.
we
They don't
gotta
care about
we
how
gotta
pretty it
Kathleen
is.
Kennedy this,
They just
right? If you're gonna give him blame, you gotta give him credit. So this. So I get it. But
okay.
then you got to say Sony created, this movie. They did, right? It's their film.
They gave
Again,
the
but
supply.
you
Marvel
can't. You have
created.
both
They
ways. So
just
that's what Kathleen Kennedy. Listen, I'll give him all the blame for that end credit scene, but I give him a ton of credit for the film. At the end of the day, it's their name on it.
listen. And even if you don't like Marvel movies, the fact that this movie ends on a De La Soul song that's now making Peter give a shit about De
That's
La
some old school
Soul, I'm
shit
like,
right
I'm
there.
in. It's all
But
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
listen, overall, it's great and all that.
yeah.
So, and we talked about it before the show. Like, okay, now that the year's come to an end, I think we got 5 superhero films, I believe, six. So
Six,
just for shits
six.
and giggles, right? End of the year, rank them from bottom up, the top 6.
Uh, Very simple. Last Eternals. Let's be honest.
Yes,
It's
I can't
Eternals.
disagree with that.
And then above Eternals, only because of time, not because of quality, Black Widow. Like it's right there. It's like
Okay.
Eternals, Black Widow. And then I would put Let There Be Carnage. And then I would put Shang-Chi. And then I would put Suicide Squad and then Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, I completely agree. Absolutely. It's close between Black Widow and Eternals, but we just whatever. It's flip flop and it's the same shit. Who cares, right? But yeah, but you're right.
Eternals
I think
goes dead
Eternals is
last
probably
just
worse than
because
Black Widow. I think overall. Um,
oh, I think actually they're both the same level. It's just Eternals is longer for that same feeling. So
but that I
you
like
can
the
just watch
rationale.
Black
That's a
Widow
good
and go, oh,
rationale.
look at that.
I like
Felt
no,
the same way.
but yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
then definitely
No,
Venom
sure.
third. I mean Shang-Chi, then no, Venom, Shang-Chi, correct? Yes, and then yes, same list. Suicide Squad
Right.
is great, and so was obviously Spider-Man's the best one.
And by the way, guys, we know there's other sci-fi movies like The Matrix or like Ghostbusters,
They're not
but they're not
superhero film. We're just talking about superhero
superheroes,
films,
so we're
right?
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we do specifically superhero stuff for this. Maybe for
We could
2022
do
we'll
that
do a
and encompass
sci-fi year
everything. Yeah,
review of
because
all the
we're gonna
stuff.
get a full
But
year
that's
now. You know,
right.
because the first part of the year, not a lot of stuff released for obvious reasons. So, you know, remember Morbius comes out in January, so we're kicking off the year with a superhero film. So, where we got
Yeah, we're
you
going
got I
right
think
into it, man.
Batman. I can't wait for that. February,
Batman
March.
in
We got
February, and then
Doctor
or
Strange,
March.
Multiverse of Madness.
Doctor Strange is in May. Yeah, and then
I think that's at the end
Black
of the
Panther
year. I
whenever
think
that
that
decides to
that was the end
be
of
a
the year.
thing.
Well, that was scheduled end of the year. Yeah. So
So
far. I
far,
think
I don't
Thor
know.
was
We
the other one
think
this year.
so.
Oh
We'll
no,
see.
was it?
We'll see.
No, Thor was the other one, wasn't it? Thor? I bet it was Thor. Yeah, so it was
Thor,
Thor
I
was
think,
the
comes
other
out this year
one.
too.
So,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that and I'm sure there's others we can't think of right now. And some DC's got something else releasing. But listen,
Listen.
it's a big year.
I'm looking into Moon Knight. Moon Knight's got to be in
Yeah, we could
2022
probably
as
do
well.
show.
That's
We could
gonna be
probably
dope.
do
And
yeah.
so
We'll
it's gonna
probably do
be
shows
She-Hulk. I mean,
and
there's a lot of good stuff.
movies next year because we got even like Peacemaker comes out again January. So yeah, this year's getting off to a
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
quick start.
Exactly.
Yeah, as I'm saying. So
Peacemaker
yeah,
comes out in January as well.
it's a
Just
quick
the same
start
time
to the
as
year.
yeah,
So we're
it's
very
gonna be a lot.
excited
Yeah.
about that. But yeah, you're right. Spider-Man for sure, best of the
Yeah.
year. It's just no question. It might be one of my favorite films of the year. Period. Overall.
Yeah.
I know it's an odd year because not everything came out, but whatever. But I do want to circle back because we did a little Price is Right, Rotten Tomatoes, and we'll talk about Matrix in a second.
Okay.
But you know, I had 91%.
Sure.
You had 94. It stood at 90%. So yeah, so I'm take the glory on that one. Matrix,
Wow.
which we'll talk about in about 2 seconds here. Matrix, I had 52. You had 68. It was a 66. So you actually you took that one. It's a good call with that. I really thought it'd be worse than that. But 66, solid number for Matrix. And let's get into the Matrix. It came out last week, and I think we're gonna differ. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't ask you about this at all. No clue.
I waited. I saw Matrix on the 26th.
After Christmas, okay.
I waited the day after Christmas. It came on the 22nd. Had a lot of reviews come in. You called me and gave me your opinions, which I believe you likened
No.
I
was in the middle. I was more in the middle than anything else, which I didn't want to see. Right, I wanted to see the worst thing ever.
Okay.
I didn't get either one of those extremes. So
right, I know. I heard a lot
it's
of
mixed.
bad reviews. I heard a lot of bad reviews.
66 is not a bad score. It's not a bad score.
It's not a bad score. But from a lot of my friends or people in the industry that I know were like, wanted this, blah, blah, blah. So I watched it. And once again, maybe it's that thing where I put in my brain, it's going to be horrible. That I actually ended up enjoying the movie.
I agree.
Not by much. But here, I'm going to talk about the good and the bad, and then I'll give you my review number. Let's talk the bad. Everyone's old. Everyone that you want to see do a thing is old. So the problem with wanting to see your favorite guy do a thing that he did when he was younger that he can't do more because he's old is they're going to take shortcuts to it. Like one of the reasons that John Wick works is because John Wick is more of a human tank. Like you can't hurt him. You keep hitting him and he just keeps on coming until
and it's
you die.
Different kind of action. It's more the gunplay and all. It's different, right?
Exactly. Matrix, it's the wushu kung fu you want, but like to a superhero anime degree that you want to see. And he can't do that level anymore. So they, instead of bullet time, they're like, what if he just pushes things like right. The Force? And that's going to be, so I felt that was like, I liked what they were doing. Like when he first fights the Morpheus Smith program they created in the training simulation that reminds you of the kung fu scene from the first one. It looked cool, and then when he does that big blast push back, I was like that would have been cool. Like it's like a Dragon Ball Z blast. I was thinking something like that, and then I kept seeing like, oh, he was just pushing everyone back. I'm like, I would have liked it as if like he was just destroying data. Like that's how powerful he become. Like he doesn't even have to fight anymore. He just eliminates code, and that would have been cool instead of just pushing it back. So I felt kind of like a cheat on it. I like the idea that because they brought them back genetically, both their genes got mixed into one another, so they both had powers. I would have liked if they both had the powers of the one, like they clearly do at the end of the movie, but they shared it. You know? Like maybe Neo has the bullet time aspect, but like Trinity could fly, which was kind of what I thought they were doing. I was like, oh, cool, because she's holding him. And then they're both flying. Like, then why the hell wasn't he flying before? Like either commit to the fact that he can't fly, or have him fly already. Like there's no, even if you had him fly and she was flying, but she couldn't control it because she's new to this, have him sort of teach her. That would have been cool too. But the fact that they interchanged their powers and you really didn't know what was the level of it, I thought was kind of a bummer. I thought that for a series, a movie series that pioneered fight scenes and technology, I felt like they defaulted too much onto pre-existing or even older versions of fight scenes and technology. It's almost like they were giving a middle finger to the expectation of like raising the level. They're like, no, we're actually going to bring it down and make it feel big, but big in like 1985. Like this is going to be, if this movie was done in 1985, it would have blown people's pants out. But now you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, imagine, this thing about every major cool Matrix fight scene you've seen. They always kind of made you feel like we're in the middle of the fight. And this, it felt like I was watching one of those fight scenes at a theme park when they have like a big display. It's like the Indiana Jones action spectacular. We're just watching a fight happen. I'm like, okay, I see this, but I don't feel like I'm in it. And even
regardless to echo on that, let me jump because that was one of my biggest complaints was the action. Right? It was underwhelming for me. Because we know, listen, the first one is awesome action. We get it. Even the sequels, whatever you think of the sequels, there's no denying that they have some really cool action sequences. They really did great.
Even
well shot.
If the CG wasn't the level it should have been, they still pushed it to make you go like, look what we're doing, and it blew you away in terms of the effort. Yeah. Maybe not execution, but the effort.
And this one it was okay. It was fine. Like it wasn't terrible action.
Yeah.
It's just when you think Matrix, because I was expecting the story's gonna be shit. But at least I'm going to see some really cool fucking action set pieces and nothing else, right? Worst case scenario. And I got a better story than I expected. But the action kind of let me down. And it's a good example where I thought they could have, two scenes where they could have just been so much better than they were. And towards the beginning where Bugs finds, the Morpheus, Smith clone, whatever, mix. And they're escaping the agents and they go through the doorway and kind of to the hallway, right? And then the trailer had it. And it was so short, they could have just kept that going a little bit, but they could have just gone from location escaping, something really cool and innovative. Nothing. The second one was when the scene with the exiles and the Merovingian comes back, who I hated. And
that was the action spectacular scene
that I thought, man, all these exiles, we've seen them, these exiles can do cool shit, like the ghosts, right, in the second one. These guys were just like regular guys and nothing special, and the fight scene wasn't well done. I was like, man, what a letdown, because that seemed like a cool, we had exiles, we had Agent Smith, or the version of him coming back, and this is going to be awesome, and it was fine.
Here's what it is. The movies, the first three movies were made by the Wachowskis.
I was gonna get
team. And it looks like Lana's the brains. And you're missing that other Wachowski going, look cool visually. Like Lana's like, I'm really gonna make people's brains think with this, but we're gonna just get through the story. Like, no, you needed that other Wachowski for the action. You that's what was missing. The other Wachowski.
Yeah, maybe. He does exactly what it was, but story-wise, listen, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Story-wise, I
liked the take. Impressed. It was fresh, and I liked, they're built on, it's been 60 years and where they're at now, and the kind of symbiotic relationship between the machines, some of the machines and the humans. That was really cool, and how they can get like the symbiotes, whatever, the computer, whatever, the like Morpheus to come into the real world to a certain degree. That was cool, and I like that aspect of it. And the machines battled at some point. That shit was cool. I like that.
The machine battle would have been a movie I would like to see.
You're right.
Like that could have been
absolutely.
The first half of the movie is so good. Like I really like the first half. The first act and a half of this movie is so tight and so intriguing. The meta references of rebooting and what does it mean, and what is the idea of like a life experience versus a memory of an experience. Like what is it? And like, what is effort, and what is like what you fought to be versus what history reinterprets what you were. All that stuff was so dope. If they would have done that in the middle, while that's happening, it was the robot civil war, which is why things were being destabilized, where you couldn't tell if the Matrix was a game or if it was a memory. That would have been a really interesting way to play those two things off at the same time. And then when they would have released Neo, that would have been the tipping scale that the Civil War have gone to the freedom fighters and not the system. Right. Like that could have been a really fun movie. What you got instead was Civil War is already over, so it's now we're referenced, and now you had. I like the whole idea of Trinity and Neo being so powerful together. They have to be kept apart, and they can generate. One of the best things about the Matrix is like not only, so one of the best things, not the best thing, but one of the best things is besides all the cool action he used to be known for, it's the thought provokingness of like what is reality, what are we, what are self, what is control, what is destiny, what is choice. This movie's question of the ultimate manipulation is not of facts but of feelings really connected to me, especially in 2021 post everything that's been happening the past couple of years in this country. I was like,
it makes sense.
It's not about
Agreed.
facts, it's about
Agreed.
feelings.
Yeah.
And like that was such a powerful note that for them not to hammer in on that or make it part of like the pillar of what this movie's trying to be, I felt it was a lost opportunity because it like you nailed it on the head and you did nothing with it. And it's just one of those really sort of like, maybe there's a way to salvage it. They're going to do a sequel or a TV series or a video game. I think there's a video game coming out. But the idea of like, and the video game looks beautiful, by the way. I mean, if you're a graphics person, it's astounding. But the idea of like, it's not about facts, it's about feelings. That is the ultimate form of control. I mean, if that is not the way historians describe the early 2000s, I don't know how else to put it. It was decades of feelings and not facts. And it's crazy to think, but like that was so profound. And that's why I was so disappointed that they didn't go further than because it wasn't as bad as they thought. I really enjoyed it because a lot of ideas they put there were really interesting. I really liked the meta reference. The one thing I didn't like, which I felt was too much of like a meta, was the post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, I didn't at the theater. I didn't see it because I'm like, because I heard it was nothing pertinent to the story, so I didn't watch
it. It wasn't
and
major
HBO Max,
at all, right?
And they put it on, and I was like, okay, it was a bit much. I'm like, whatever. I'm glad I didn't see it the first time. Right?
It is very meme YouTube kind of
silly.
Art.
Whatever. It is.
Yeah,
I agree. But again, in credit scene, I'm not going to hold them way back because of that. So
absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah. We're not going to fault a movie because of a Venom.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Listen,
they
pulled the Venom.
It's got to be the movie's a movie.
Whatever.
Right.
It is what it is. It's extra.
And listen, I'm not a complete degenerate. I'm not saying I have fetishes, and if I do, don't kink shame me. But the Matrix needs leather. It needs leather.
Yeah.
Fabric.
Well, it did miss that style and look the first one had. I mean, I know. Listen, it's hard, and it's funny because I mean, you talk about another one. I don't think they're going. I mean, they didn't do well at all, numbers wise, in terms of box office. I don't know. They haven't released the HBO numbers, so I guess as good as mine. But usually when they don't announce it, it's because it wasn't that great. You know, because if this would have been the most watched show, guarantee HBO would have been, most watched, like, guaranteed.
Spider-Man breaks numbers, HBO Max
exactly. Because they released a story about Six in the City, and that broke like the numbers and all that. So when it's good, they're the first on the table. Hey, this is what we got. So I got a feeling it probably didn't do as well either. So I think this franchise has died, at least for the time being. Which I'm fine with, because again, if this one would have been great, I'm like, man, that sucks. It wasn't great. It was fine. It was
unless they get both the Wachowskis to come back for the sequel. If they do that, I'll give it one more shot.
It'll be it's gonna be tough. So I got a feeling, if they reboot this, it'll be a few years from now. Give it some time.
Not a reboot. I like what they were doing, but give me the sequel. Give everybody the sequel they want, where the ones really come in and just change the game. Like that would be great.
No, I agree. I agree. Like I said, but overall, I didn't think it was bad. I know it's got mixed reviews at a good level. Some people fucking hate this movie. I get it. Some people really liked it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm in the middle. You know, if I would have rated it, say 6.5, maybe a 7, I don't know.
I give it to me 6.5 is you missed the minimum. I feel like a movie should hit a 7 at least, and I feel like The Matrix was a solid
6.5 to a 7 around it. I guess I didn't love it. It's not terrible. There's some good stuff about it. There's stuff that I would have changed the scene, but whatever. I mean, like the action. If the action was really good, it could have been like an 8.5.
It could have been easy.
So for me, that left a bad taste in my mouth because again, I mean, listen, the is better than the action. Yes, it weighs more, and it should be better than the action. But this is the Matrix.
Right.
It's been 20 years. Technology has advanced substantially. He could have come up with something so dope.
So
Like,
much.
man, what was? Come
Like
on, you gotta do better than
one of
that.
the plot holes. One of the plot holes that I thought was when they did that swarm mode, where all the people were becoming digital zombies. Like, okay,
That was
okay,
cool.
cool.
That
I
was a
like
good
that.
idea. Good
And
visually.
then
That was really cool. Yeah,
right, and then when the people were jumping
that
out
was
the
cool. I
windows
like
and
that.
stuff like that, I go
That's
that's
cool.
cool, but you need people to be your batteries. So you're killing your energy source trying to save your strongest batteries, but you have all these other batteries you could have just used for later. Like I know with the whole thing with Agent Smith, he goes, anyone could be you, I could be anyone. I got that like
Sure.
whole thing. What I would have preferred is one of those things where the because the program was so intent on trying to keep them from escaping, I would have liked it if like almost like their fabric of reality was breaking, where just buildings were coming off coming off the glitching, and then parts were just coming down. That would have been crazy. And then, which is why I thought was going to happen when they saw them going into the city. I go, oh man, they're going to make the world attack him, and not the people. Like people be stuck inside, but just have the city and the
Well, yeah,
environment
and it
crash.
goes
And
back
then
to the lack of imagination with the action, because it was still a cool third act. It really was. It was fun. It was
it,
entertaining.
it was an
Right, but it
okay
wasn't
third act.
like,
It was
you
okay.
know, we,
It was
we, we
okay.
never
Like I said, the first half of
this
the
could have
movie,
blown us away as something so cool and interesting, and just
and
didn't.
if they did the Neo thing, which I thought they were doing, which is he wasn't not pushing people back, he was destroying data. How cool would it be if like Bill Clinton, he's just pushing like code out, and it's just being like it's breaking apart, but it's breaking apart and it's like code deconstruction all at the same time. That visual would have been so cool to see, and you would
Yeah,
never seen anything like it before, which would have made it feel like the Matrix.
right,
So,
and
like I said,
yeah, and yeah.
a lot of visually cool missed
And
opportunities.
that was
Great, great
yeah, story
story.
worked. So I can't fault it for that. So I mean, that being said, I'll
Right.
say a 7. To be fair, I'll say a 7. But
Seven.
this could have
That's
been an
fine.
8,
Yeah.
8.5 with some really cool action, as we've seen
Oh yeah.
what we got in the past from these films. If nothing else, is good action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping for that. But
Yeah.
listen, I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I'm not gonna shit on it. People can. I get it why they wouldn't. That's fine. To each their own. All good. But I didn't think it was bad.
You know what? I described this movie the way a lot of my teachers described me in middle school. It has a lot of potential, but it didn't
That's
apply
fair.
itself.
Good call with that one. So that being said, let's get on to the nuggets here. I'm gonna skip one just for sake of time here, but it's not a big one. But move on to an interesting one. Let's go DC. We did a lot of Marvel and stuff, and let's go to DC here.
All
So
right.
a couple stories. Let's start with one of them. Flash related, Flashpoint, the movie coming out. I think that's coming out next year, isn't it?
That comes
Oh,
out next year too.
now I'm even more excited for 2022. So that being said, I'm having a better mood already. Yeah, so we got a story now. We know, Michael Keaton's gonna be in it. I think Ben Affleck's supposed to be in it. We know we got Supergirl and etc. But now they announced that they're bringing back Zod, General Zod from the Man of Steel. Of course, Michael Shannon, and also and Ferrara. I think
Nice.
that's her name. Ferrara, if I'm saying it right. Who I think was his right hand lieutenant woman, whatever.
Yes.
She was kicked ass in that film anyway. And Zod,
Oh
look,
yeah.
Zod's an underrated villain. He's really good in Man of Steel. Yeah, I
So
know me
good.
and you haven't we
So
talked
good.
Man of Steel before. I don't think we've even mentioned how good Zod is. Right, he's really good. So
Yeah.
to see him come back, I love Michael Shannon anyway. That's crazy ideas. But yeah, so this is interesting. It's like, oh wow, okay. Curious as to how they're gonna work that in and what that means. Retconning stuff. I don't know. I'm
I
hoping
mean,
we get Henry
that
Cavill
sounds
back. I mean,
that
that'd be
sounds like
fantastic. Um,
that sounds like a Warner Brother executive saw Spider-Man No Way Home and made some phone
maybe
calls.
it's like, so that's kind of cool, and to see them like, okay, I'm all for that. I mean, you bring a good character back, okay. Maybe that's how Supergirl's involved. I don't know, maybe or something, whatever. But interesting, and I'm still hopeful. Maybe get Harry Cavill as Superman if you bring back Zod. Why not bring him for a quick little shot?
That would be.
Come on, that would be awesome.
I
That would be
mean, listen.
awesome.
If I had to pick my Henry Cavill, save him for Black Adam. But if you get him for everything, get him for everything. But if you can only get one, save him for Black Adam. For me.
That's
For me.
fair. I have no problem with that. So that's interesting news. But the bigger one, the bigger news here, and that's the return of Michael Keaton again. Joyous day when we get more Michael Keaton. There's nothing wrong with this world when you get more Michael Keaton. And obviously we know it's in Flashpoint, but now it's confirmed he's going to be in the HBO Max movie of the Batgirl coming out starring
which had been rumored, but
now
now
it's
confirmed.
confirmed. So, man,
rumor
more
confirmed.
Michael Keaton. This is what I'm talking about, man. Forget Bagger. Just make a Michael Keaton. Come on now. But the fact that he's in it, that's pretty cool. And it's interesting because I guess maybe this might tie it into Flashpoint somehow, because obviously it's a different universe.
It's gotta connect them. But here's the weird thing. I also heard that J.K. Simmons is going to be Gordon.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So now we're taking DC, the Snyderverse stuff, but not incorporating with
and
or flat, whatever you want to call flat, whatever it is, the new whatever the DC's doing now. So that's interesting. It's like, okay, how does Batman come into play? I mean, because they're not in the same world. Maybe they're just retconning everything. Who knows? Which is, I mean, they've been saying that's the plan from the beginning. For years, we've heard they're going to retcon the whole thing via Flashpoint, right? So
that was supposed to be the
big
this
is the reset, and here we go, and they'll keep some stuff, and some stuff will go by the wayside. So whatever, we'll see. So it makes things more interesting.
All I'm gonna say is this: I'm a big fan of whenever a form of media can tap into their history to tell newer stories. I love it when Marvel did Secret Wars. I love it when DC would do Infinite Crisis. I loved it when DC did Infinite Crisis or Infinite Earths on the CW. Like, that was great because they brought in Kevin Conroy as Broken Future Batman. They brought in Ezra Miller to be the Flash. They brought in Burt Ward as a Robin as an adult now. Like, they did, like, I love that shit. Like, that, you want to talk about fan service? You want to talk about rewarding people for, like, look, you're such a nerd about this. We got them all here for you. Like, I love that shit. So there's no reason TV should do it better than movies. And so far, DC has done better TV than movies. And that's just the truth of it. Like, you can't escape the fact that their TV production and, like, what they offer is... but no, not Titans. But
I know. But no, you're probably right on that. With obviously Doom Patrol, the animated stuff, DC's always been superior to even to Marvel's animated stuff.
The new Superman show.
I heard it's really great. I haven't seen it, but I heard really good things about it, so I'll take it for what it's worth.
I mean, every once in a while you'll get yourself a Titans or you'll get yourself something like that. But even like a weird show like DC Legends of Tomorrow, like that show should not work, and it does.
They've done a good job for the most part. I mean,
weird.
Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing really worked as well. Yeah. So they've done a pretty good job recently with that stuff. So whatever. I mean, I can't wait for Flashpoint. I really can't. I'm so curious about this film, and I'm just.
I mean, especially after how great No Way Home came out. Flashpoint's got a high bar.
A high bar. I don't think it's gonna hit. I mean, I hope so. We all win. I mean, if it doesn't, that's fine. It just has to be good. I just want a good movie. At the end of it, I don't care, right? It don't have to be great. Just something good, like entertaining, and listen. You bring back Affleck and this and Keaton. Come on, the expectations. The bar has definitely been raised. There's no question. I can't wait for the full trailer. I don't think we haven't got like a real full trailer. I know we got like a minor trailer, but not a full trailer. My question is, you got Affleck basically bowing out. With this movie, you got Keaton coming back in, sort of like re-energizing their new continuity, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, exactly. And
my question is, like, either get Bale to bring in, or you got to get the new kid from the Batman.
Pattinson.
Pattinson. Pattinson. Make one of them the official Batman already. Like, I know the Batman's coming out, but he's like, if they say it's his own pocket universe, blah blah blah.
I mean,
like, get me a main universe Batman already.
The Robert Pattinson one, which we're talking, it's like, I think that's going to be something completely different. And I
think so too.
That's what they've been saying all along. Right, that's their own universe. But I still am hopeful that the Flashpoint will reveal the new Batman. I mean, if there's any opportunity to drop that, it will be in that movie. Oh, the new Batman, here it is. They don't announce it. Keep it all on the wraps, and they have a quick scene, even an end credit scene, for Christ's sake. Mind blown, right? If you see X person as Batman, oh my God, we're going to fucking lose our shit. We know how nerds are. We all lose our shit. I mean, oh my God. And that's how you break the news. I mean, but I'm hopeful that's what they're going to do. I doubt it, but I'm hopeful that's what it is. But you're right. We need to know, who's the Batman wait for? We don't know. I mean, I love Michael Keaton, but let's be realistic. He's not going to be the Batman.
We all know who Shazam is. We know who Aquaman is. We know who Wonder Woman is. We know who the Flash is. We don't know Superman or Batman.
That's your crown jewels.
That's your Captain America,
That's what I'm
Iron Man.
saying. It's the crown jewel.
How do you not know?
Whatever. That's a whole conversation for a different day. And I'm hoping Flashpoint would shed some
I
light
know.
into that. Um, fingers
Fingers
crossed. But
crossed.
let's see. But I mean, listen.
More Spider-Man, less Matrix.
That was Spider-Man in the Matrix. Talk about mind blown.
Uh,
But either way, so let's see. I mean, like I said, next year is actually kind of big, so I'm very excited about that. Next story here. And this is an interesting one here. This is kind of a funny one, and Ghostbusters. We saw the last version, which we both liked. We didn't love it, but we liked it a lot. I liked it. So this is a quick story where I guess Sony's releasing. Not Sony. Is it Sony? It is Sony. They're releasing the Ghostbusters Ultimate, Blu-ray, whatever, 4K set, whatever, Blu-ray and all that. As the people still buying that stuff, but whatever. So the director of Ghostbusters 2016 version, when his panties got on the bunch, because apparently his movie was left out of the collection. So he took to Twitter, and a couple of things, but I want to point this out first, and this is his words on Twitter when he addressed the situation. So he says, quote, "I know this must be a mistake. We do have a lot of fans, okay, and Bill, Dan, and Ernie were in it, and the selling point, and it won the Kids' Choice Award for Best Feature Film of the Year when it came out, so I guess this was just an oversight." So, oh my God, it won the Kids' Choice Award. How dare we leave this movie off the list? Stop it. Stop. That's your rationale? Because it won the Kids' Choice Award?
Listen.
Seriously?
Listen. If your main talking point is our movie has a queef joke, you're not going to be part of our collection.
Nor should you. I mean, God, he could have said a number of things. I don't know, it's great, and people the whatever. Winning a Kids' Choice Awards changes nobody's mind in the least.
Look,
but apparently, I just made that comment, and apparently I am wrong, because I guess a few days after, knowing the esteemed award this movie garnered back in 2016, that they changed their minds, and now they're gonna add the Ghostbusters to it via digital code, not actual physical media. Thank God, right?
Thank God.
This is like, you have a wedding. It's a very small wedding.
If Sony could put a report on how many people use that digital code, I'd be interested to see what the numbers are.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Kristen Wiig. But this is you have a wedding, right? And you invite you want a small wedding. You invite your parents, siblings, right? Your kids, whatever, right? And all of a sudden, your third cousin's complaining, "Hey, what about me? You didn't invite me." So now, okay, you can attend via Zoom, right? And this is exactly what Sony did. Okay, we'll let you have a digital copy of it.
See, I disagree. That's not a good analogy. What you're saying is this is a financial decision that literally is proven that even in movies, let me talk to your manager to get you what you want. It is a care move, the highest.
So yeah, I mean, first of all, Kids' Choice, get the fuck out of here. But I mean, the right decision was made. This should not be included. Wow. And I'm not gonna say, listen, I didn't like that movie, fine. But even if you liked it, there's really no continuity between that film and the other ones. It doesn't belong in the same set.
There isn't.
It's not the same thing. It's different, completely different storyline. Yeah, Bill's in it and all that, but they're not even playing their old characters in it. Yeah,
totally different characters. And let's be honest, Ghostbusters 2016 was sold to us as an idea that it was a continuation of the same universe, and it wasn't. So if you lie to us about that, you don't get to be part of the club afterwards.
That's
you
true.
lied
the
to
bait and
us.
switch. Yeah, it's at least I like a Sony cave to a degree. So listen, you're right. I don't think anyone was downloading that digital copy. What?
I mean, if anything, Ghostbusters Afterlife has an homage to Ghostbusters 2016. Only the fact that Sigourney Weaver shows up in the movie as a post-credit scene character. Both of those movies did that. That is the only way you can show any kind of connection between the two is structure and appearance.
It's garbage.
Everything else is
it's
garbage.
Nonsense. They win the Kids' Choice Award. I'm sorry. Get out of here with that. God, the last quick story before we get to the TV stuff. And I'm not gonna talk about it because I choose not to see it. You know my policy on seeing more than a couple of trailers on anything, despite any movie as excited as I am for this film. The Batman, of course, dropping the Cat and the Bat trailer, whatever they called it. Little Dr. Seuss kind of play that was kind of funny. But yeah, I didn't see it, so I'm not gonna say anything. I'll let you take the floor. I'm sure it's great. People are raving about it. I'm sure it's great. Try not to spoil anything for me, but just your
I
thoughts on
mean,
it.
all you're really it's just it's like 60% the scenes you already saw, and the other 40 are just giving you a little bit more context or letting the scene play it a little bit more so you can kind of be in the moment. That's all it really is. But it's great. It's the whole penguin car chase scene. You see that in more detail. You see the interaction between Catwoman and Batman building a sort of like that trust, but apprehensive trust they're having with each other. The fact that it's alluding to the fact that the Riddler knows that there's a secret to the Wayne family, but he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, and he's playing on that because it's part of his plan already. Like, it's stuff that it was alluded to in the first two trailers, but you never really got a big confirmation. And now they're like, everything you thought is, and that's only part of the story, and that makes it really, really intriguing, really, really interesting. I mean, if you already like the last two trailers, you're gonna like this trailer and you're gonna go
No,
watch
I
the
heard
movie.
it's
They
good.
already sold
Oh,
who they sold.
of course.
Much like the Matrix said, choice is an illusion. You already know what you need to do.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
taking the
there's
red pill
nobody
here.
who's saying, yeah, there's nobody here saying, I don't know if I'm gonna go watch the movie. If you already know, if you saw the trailer, you know if you're gonna watch it. If you're not gonna watch it, you're just gonna say no. And if you're gonna watch it, just say I'll watch it either as soon as it comes out or in streaming. But you know
Of
you're gonna
course you're gonna
watch it.
watch
So
it. So
just calm down
damn,
on
man.
that.
I'll ask you this, since we're gonna look forward to 2022. Would this be? I mean, if like I said, I gave you a choice. We know we got this. We got Doctor Strange. We know Morbius. I think Thor. Let's say Thor, Black Panther, whatever. Flash. Right. Those are the ones that at the top of my head I know are coming out. Right. It could be one or two others I'm missing. But that being said, you can only watch one. Which one are you watching?
Jeez. Because of all the trouble that's happening on the Black Panther side of it, I don't know if I'm gonna watch that. Batman, but I've seen The Dark Knight, and that's pretty much the best Batman movie ever made. So you're not gonna get a better performance. And so I saw that. Uh, Morbius, yeah. Listen, I've seen Blade, so yeah, I can escape that. Uh, it would be a tie between Doctor Strange and Thor: Love and Thunder. Those two are really excited for because those are going to do a lot of big stuff with those universes. So it'd be one of those two. But yeah, everything else I
Obviously,
want to see it
we know you're
because
watching.
life is hard and I need
Okay, fair
distractions.
enough.
So yeah, but uh, but if I had to choose, it'd be either Thor: Love and Thunder or Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange.
So,
I can skip
so I'll ask
everything
you this, and
else.
this is a
Yeah,
variation of the question. Those are your most anticipated ones, but which one do you
sure.
think is actually going to end up being the best out of the lot? Really?
I
Okay.
go back to my two. I mean, you got Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange, and you got Taika Waititi doing Thor. I mean,
I
both these guys
I'm
kill,
not sold on the Sam Raimi thing quite
kill.
yet because he took over and something with the movie just doesn't. It's not doing anything for me. Not to say it's not going to be good. It's not doing it for me. I would choose Thor over
Really?
that
Okay,
any day of the
weird.
week. I think I'd
All
be
right.
more excited for Thor than Doctor Strange easily. Um, but I'm curious. So we'll do the first. That's it. The first two big ones coming out is Batman, Doctor Strange. So let's do a little.
Right. Oh no,
Well,
first
I'm not
one
gonna
is
count
Batman
Morbius. I'm
Morbius.
counting.
Those are the
No,
first
fuck. You
two
know
big
what? Let's do
ones.
Morbius too. We're gonna do all three. These are the
Okay.
first three. We're gonna do the first half of the year. So you got first quarter. We got Batman, Doctor
First
Strange,
quarter.
Morbius. So
First
we're gonna
quarter.
do a little Price is Right Rotten Tomato style here. So let's start with the first one, Morbius, which I think probably have the lowest score, but we never know. What do you think Morbius comes in at?
I think Morbius probably comes in
68.
like
Wow,
68.
I'm gonna go 60 on that one. I hope it's better. I hope
All right. Yeah. Thank you, you
there's
$1
an eight
voting
percent difference for
Wheel of
Christ's
Fortune
sake.
jackass. You if I
God,
put $10, you
I
go
didn't say
$1. You come in
67 or
two. You
69.
still win. No, no, no.
60,
You're a
60. I'm gonna
$1
go first on
betting
the
Wheel
next
of
one just to
Fortune
make it fair.
hack.
We'll take turns. So Batman's the next one on deck. So Batman, oh
All right.
man, 88. Okay,
90.
you see, I don't complain. I get it. So Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, I think it's going to be like
92. I'm
92.
gonna go 77. Yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
got a feeling about that. I don't
Wow.
know
All
why.
right.
So okay, so I'll keep these down. So we got 88 to 90 in Batman, 77, 92 Doctor Strange, and 16, 68 for Morbius. So the first quarter thus far, and we'll revisit that, of course, down the road on that to see
Very
if
excited.
like I said, I hope they're all in the 90s. Don't get me wrong. Wishful thinking, but hey, what the hell? Even more, I don't think the Batman, Doctor Strange are gonna do well. Be well received. It's Morbius is the one I think I'm on the fence on as far as what I think people are gonna think of that film. I could see that just like being in
Right.
the 50s
Right.
maybe.
Right.
But that being said, that's the news, that's the nuggets. Now when the appetizers
The
there, it's time for the
Nuggets.
main course. As always, we got two main courses: one good, one alright. In your case, one good and one alright. I have one bad and one alright. So the first one, let's talk about because we can talk about the finale, and this is the best part about the show is that the last time we get to talk about it for a while anyway, which I'm very happy about. And that's Hawkeye on Disney Plus. And you were a fan. I was not a fan for so many reasons. And I want to bog down the show, bombarding this. But from the elephant in the room, I had conversations with a bunch of people who were more close to my side of the camp when it came to Kingpin. The version of Kingpin, this discount version, this poor man's Kingpin, this third world country version of Kingpin that they gave us. And this is exactly what I was worried about when they, gave us Vincent D'Onofrio. Because my fear is that if you're gonna give us the same thing, you need to make it as good or better, right? That's always been the fear.
Right.
And they did not give us better. You might not hate it, but if anybody says it's a better version, they're out of the fucking mind. It's just not a better version of Kingpin for so many reasons. It's not the same character.
I
It's
say
not, and that's been confirmed. As far as he's not playing
not.
it the same. But dude, this
Right.
nonsense version of this Kingpin's like, oh my god, a guy who is so feared but hangs around with the worst set of bad guys in the history of comic book heroes, which is my thought the first time we talked about this, the tracksuit gang. They're utter not yeah, it's funny, but they're nonsense. There's no way. And this is the guys that he's in control of that backs them up. I don't think so. Tacky as fuck. That stupid shirt he had. He's got. It's terrible.
First of all, I've sent you a link. That shirt is.
I get it, but it can be a
It's
comic book, and
actually
that's
part of the
fantastic. But if it's stuck in the comic book, it's sucked in the show. And again, when you the danger of bringing this character, we know how good a Kingpin can be, right? We've seen how awesome this character is. We've seen it, and now you give us this nonsense. This is the first time we saw Kingpin. Fine. And this would have been a different actor. Fine, but it's not. You gave us the same actor, so now you have to step up to the plate, which is my favorite Daredevil, right? Daredevil. I think it's going to be good. Would it be as good? Probably not, right? Probably not. We don't know that. They do better with heroes than villains, to be fair with Marvel. So that remains to be seen, but we're going to compare. We're naturally going to compare. Like if there would have been season 4 Daredevil and that sucked, and if they would have changed the tone and Netflix did it, and now it's a little more Disney-fied and whatever, not as dark, we'd all be complaining about it. This is no different. Yes. This is a Disney-fied version of this.
Yes.
It's going to be what it's going to be. But again, they do heroes better. But that being said, he's got super strength. It's ridiculous. It's not utter, just non.
But
I get it. But what works in the comics doesn't always translate. So I mean, and in this world they've created, he's ripping doors off the cars. He's getting hit by. It's just nonsense. It's utter nonsense. I hate it. It's just that did not. Again, I would have been okay if it would have been whomever ex-actor playing this role. Fine. I would have bought it, but that's not what they gave us, man. And it's a huge letdown. It's a huge letdown. It's not what we wanted, at all. But that being said, I mean, that's my biggest gripe. There's other gripes, but that's my biggest thing. And
here's my thing. And let's take it back to Spider-Man, which you got to see Matt Murdock in as well.
Sure.
Netflix's Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox was really exciting as well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When you watch all 3 Spider-Mans together, Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, it's not until the end of No Way Home where you realize, holy crap, this was a 3-movie origin story.
Essentially, yeah. Agree.
And you don't realize it until you get to it, but essentially they built him up to bring him back down to what he is known for, and they're going to build it from there. Now it's to be the Spider-Man
Right.
you know in comics. He's
Sure.
poor, he's struggling, he's just trying to do his best. He's guilt-ridden. He doesn't want to be next to anybody because he's afraid they're going to get hurt because he knows what could happen because he did it the other way, and it all went here. I feel like they're doing the same thing with Kingpin, which is he's run his organization one way, and this brush with the Avengers and superheroes has realized he's got to play it smarter. And so because of this, he's going to become the Kingpin from the Netflix shows. That's how I see it.
In Netflix shows, the Avengers already existed. So it's in that world already. And
No. I'm talking about attitude, not the character, like an attitude. So he's going to be more in the shadows, more deadly. Like, you do it for me.
I fine with that, but you can't have your tracksuit mafia be your muscle because they are awful and silly and stupid and there's no weight.
I love the
I get it,
of
but
it.
I want weight behind. You got to tell me the Kingpin, right? This is the guy that Hawkeye feared. There's nothing to fear except he's got this ridiculous strength, which is just retarded. But okay, his gang. Okay, it's Home Alone. It's home. Fumbling around to put toy cars and they're flipping over and hitting paint cans in their face. It's just Home Alone with two Macaulay Culkins running around. It's awful, awful. And this is the Kingpin's. It's nonsense. It doesn't fit there. It does not fit. Kingpin is a badass. Whether he's out in the open, hiding in plain sight or not, to be taken seriously, you need to have the muscle. He's not out there doing it all by himself with this incredible Hulk-like strength.
So you wanted the Kingpin's muscle to be like the muscle he did in like season 1, where they saved them. They stopped the police from delivering him to jail with that SWAT team.
That's muscle.
Remember?
The track fight mafia can't even open
muscle.
a can of tomatoes, man. It's just so bad. They're awful. And a great example, Kate Bishop gets her ass kicked by everybody in the show except the mafia because they are so bad. And that's not a good representation of what the Kingpin should be. Listen, you want to make comical. If it would have been not Kingpin, it would have been Jack. Okay, great. Fine. Then with Jack, the whole thing, he's not bad. He was just a red herring. Fine. Whatever. I didn't like that either, but whatever. But okay, I would have bought that.
I'll tell you which character I felt got underserved by the show was Kazi. Because in the comics, Kazi is called the Clown, and he's sadistic but methodical. Think of the Joker without the need to try to pretend like he's funny. He's just, I want you to see this face while I do horrible things to you, and I'm going to be really quiet and really precise.
Right, and that was undersold. The whole storyline was just, it didn't hit. Exactly. Yeah, when
I felt like Kazi
did because again, there was still too many storylines in the end, which we were kind of afraid of, and that one kind of got shoved to the side. They try to wrap it up. I didn't buy it, but not a huge complaint, but whatever.
All right, once again, the reason why I like this is because when at the end of the episode, when Echo shows up and she captures Wilson Fisk trying to escape and she shoots him, in the comic, that happened in the comics. But in the comics, she shoots him, but because he's so big, the bullet doesn't kill him. It was his head. They pull it out, but it damages his optic nerves and he goes blind. So if they're going to use Echo as a series to introduce Matt Murdock, what better way to kind of put them initially on the same level? Because he's got to learn how to be better than the Kingpin he was, but blind. So when he starts to eventually get his vision back and everything like that, there's going to be a level of respect on, like, I don't know who this Matt Murdock guy is, but just because he's blind, don't underestimate him, because I was blind and I did this and this.
Let me
but I had to overcome
this.
So I think this
right. This is the Daredevil show comes out, or it's an Echo, whatever, very.
Right. It's Echo first, but it's essentially a soft sell.
Let's assume he's going to be in it, whatever. Are you really excited to see him fight the Tracksuit Mafia, honestly?
The Tracksuit Mafia gets disbanded.
But who else is there? He has no one else. Not to mention that there's already proof that he's involved because they arrested the mother because of the video, I assume. Otherwise, they wouldn't have arrested her because of just her daughter's word on it. The video shows the Kingpin there. He can't even hide in plain sight anymore. It's just, okay. So,
that I thought was a weird sell, because that I agree with you. That was a weird sell because the Kingpin is supposed to be, everyone knows he's involved.
Exactly right. He's hiding in plain sight. Yeah,
and they have video.
It's proof. Right. It's irrefutable. It's okay. So that was kind of weird. I know they didn't touch on it, but it's kind of weird.
The only thing I could think of is just like in the Netflix show when they showed that there were certain cops on the take. Maybe what they did is when she turned her phone over, they did that thing where you zoom in on a video and just focus on the mom
I
and
guess it's
crops them out,
possible,
so
but
like we can't
I mean,
see.
well, Hawkeye's got the
So
video.
no, it was all
Well,
in
I don't
Kate
remember.
Bishop's
Well, maybe
phone.
you're right. Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
right. But
yelling
it's
at
it's a
text
big
message to Kate Bishop. Kate,
yeah.
if
It's a
Kate gave
big
it to
leap
the
of
cops,
faith. But I mean,
I
it's
think
it's
that's
kind
how
of
it
weird
works.
that they and that's not a huge complaint. It was kind of weird that they did that. I think okay, whatever, fine, sure. The Yelena thing didn't work for me. We talked about that. I just had that Martha moment, which just destroyed the whole scene.
I disagree.
Why'd you say that
I thought it
name?
was a good moment because Martha was like he was saying his mom, and they happen to have the same mom's name. Which, if you remember,
It's
when we
the
saw Superman
same
versus
scene.
Batman
They
in the
replaced
movie theater,
Martha with
eh, when we walked
that's
out
what
of
they
the
replaced
theater,
Martha with a
Do you
whistle.
remember what I said? Do you remember what I said? I said I hated that movie, but I got to tell you, I
You're the
kind
only
of
one
like
that
the
likes it
Martha
because
thing.
people hating that
I've
scene.
always,
Let's be fair, right? Let's be fair.
I know, but I kind of like
So
it.
if you
I
like it for
kind of
that
like,
reason,
like,
fine, I give you that. But let's be honest, that's and part Brian B. Superman. It's a bad scene. It's just not good, right? At least the consensus, for whatever that's worth.
the way it was delivered was not the best, but the logic behind it is sound. I'm like, okay, I kind of like, and this one I like it because nobody knows that Black Widow has a sister except for her Russian family, Nick
He
Fury
knows.
possibly,
Clint
but Clint,
knows.
because
Yeah.
Clint knows, but it may be Nick Fury, but no one else knew this shit.
Oh, not no,
Hulk
no.
doesn't know that
I
she's got
doubt
a
that, but
sister.
no.
Cap doesn't know. Iron Man doesn't know. Like only like four people know, and they're not talking about how she died because that was really personal and traumatic, and so she gave her life to help
Right,
stop Thanos.
but how
That's
you
all that was ever
correlate
released.
Hawkeye
So
killing her to give her life, I don't understand. Like that to me never made sense. Even at the end of
I could
the
see
end
I
credit
could
scene,
see
that
it
just didn't
as
make any sense. It
I
didn't
could
make
see
any sense.
I can see it as Hawkeye sacrificed his sister for because he didn't want to die or something like that. He pushed
It's
her in the
kind of a
way. So
reach because she
you
was
could
told
sell
he killed her, and but that never happened.
right
It just not.
exactly
It's
because
if it's not that black and white, and she who's just she's very smart. She's and I like the character. I do. She's too smart to say that. Okay,
right
he killed her. It's just not. It's not true. It's not. And she
because
that character
because
wouldn't have bought that. Would not have bought that.
because you're right. She wouldn't have bought that unless she was blipped in and out, and so she didn't have the 5 years to go through that
Yeah,
process.
but time had
That's why she
passed. They
bought
showing
it.
it. She didn't just wake up, meet the. She didn't make
It was a
yeah
year
she didn't meet
afterwards,
Elena
and she
getting
didn't
a big
find
salad
out.
and all of a sudden here Hawkeye killed you guys. That's not how it went. I mean it was a process.
I feel like I feel like because of everything she had gone through, getting that information, she's like, I fucking knew my sister wouldn't die sacrificing herself. She got killed by this dude while they were in the middle of battle because of his own reasons. Now I need to know
As
why.
good as friends
No,
as
she's
she
gonna
knows
kill him.
they were.
But
She knew that. She knows that. It doesn't take a whistle to oh you guys were close. They knew that. She knew that they were close. Why would it? Why would he
like,
just? It
I
doesn't
would
make
say,
sense that he would kill his
I,
sister.
I would say almost, I would wager almost that Cap or Bruce Banner would be presumed to have a closer relationship with her
I disagree
than
because
than Hawkeye, and that's because
they've
Hawkeye
been
keeps
working together
everything
for years.
really,
I mean,
really low.
it's come on.
But they kept it really low. Like no one even knew Hawkeye had a
They
family. The only
referenced
person knew
Hawkeye and Black
was
Widow. She was
Romanoff.
with Yelena. That's what I'm saying. But right, but she's
Because
aware that the relationship is there. It's not like she just who's this guy Barton? I don't know. Oh, you knew my sister.
but she
No,
didn't
it doesn't
survive
matter.
the
Yeah, but
5 years
you don't come back and
post
lose
her.
your
She got
memory.
blipped up.
She's not part of
And
the
only
Spider-Man scene. She
if
knew she has everything.
if she had survived, I would have
No,
agreed the context of this story didn't work because she got
no.
blipped. I believed it.
It didn't work.
The
And
blip
again,
made
too
it
many
work for me.
storylines, and that could have been done a lot better. That should have been resolved the last episode. Ultimately, I thought they could have just done that before or even after,
Right.
whatever. Right? It was too much stuff going on. I was afraid of that. It was too much stuff going on, and nothing really worked. And even I think the thing with the mom and or
I
here
mean,
wouldn't.
if you want to be honest, you could have taken Yelena out of it, and you could have had the scene from episode 5 be the climactic scene at the Rockefeller Center where he tells her, "I killed your dad because I got tipped off by your boss." And notice the one guy my informant wasn't there. Who was it?
Right.
And oh shit,
You could have focused on
and
that.
then
That would have been interesting.
but then you would if you would have had the fight between Kazi and Hawkeye be the big battle. have him have killed Kazi, and then she realized she can't kill Kazi because he already got it.
Sure.
Then she goes after Wilson. Then you would have had it much more.
That's a
So
good
you're going to take the Yelena out. The Yelena thing only didn't work because if she only appeared for one episode, and then maybe she saw things happening, and she's like, oh shit, this is not the guy who would have killed my sister. There could have been a more interesting dynamic, even if it was just her and Kate fighting, and Kate thinking that she beat her, but she was actually just scoping things out. And maybe when he was having that talk with Echo, she was like had a scope on him, and she was getting ready to pull the shot, but she could hear what they were saying, and she hears like he's giving her a chance. Yeah. The guy who's giving her a chance wouldn't have killed my sister. It makes sense that Kate Bishop, like everything coalesces to her, and have her go after Val. That would have been
I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's what I'm saying. It just wasn't done right. That's what I'm saying. It just didn't work for me, right? For whatever reason.
Okay,
there was a good,
to me, it worked.
Angle because we knew it was going to happen. We knew she was going to find out. It's not a surprise, right? It's just how you executed it, which I'm like,
exactly.
It didn't work. Martha, whatever, right? It's silly, but you know.
I feel like this episode was like the Matrix Resurrection. It's a 7. It was good, but it could have been better. But the ideas were good. What they were going for was good. The execution I was not a fan. I love the Tracksuit Mafia.
That's fine.
It's in my bag of stuff.
Understood.
Right? It maybe it's obviously not yours. I love Kazi's character. Yeah. He got undersold, which is why I would have liked Kazi to have been a much more.
Because it seemed like there was a really good connection between them, which they never really explored, right? It was almost like a brother sister or whatever they were, best friends, whatever you want to call it.
And when he's like when he told her, "You have my life." There's a few allusions here and there about like who's in charge. You are, but there never seemed to be any genuine resentment. And I would have liked more of like as the series gone on, you would have noticed the resentment become more and more and more.
Agreed.
So when
I don't want to see that explored in Echo. We're past that now, right? Don't go back and show us that because it's too late for that, right?
Right.
Let's move forward with Echo and see what happens with her. But that was, I guess, it was undersold. And like I said, it's just good ideas. You're right, but it didn't work. It didn't work for me. So I'm like, disappointed with how it came out the end of the day. I mean, for me, the show was like maybe a 5.5 to a 6. Ultimately, that's the whole series.
The whole series as a whole, I get a 7.5, and I'll tell you why. There were some episode 3, 4, and 5.
3 was really good. And 4 was good too. Yeah.
3, 4, and 5 are close to being 8s. Like that's how I really like those. Episode 6 is like a 7, and episode 1 and 2 together is like a 7 because those 2 episodes could have been combined into one episode. You didn't need those 2 episodes. The pacing on those 2 episodes was a little off. They nailed it 3, 4, and 5, and then with 6 they tried to do too much.
And that was the thing.
And there was a smarter way. There was a smarter, more condensed way to kind of give everybody their due, but they wanted to give everybody their shine, and that's the problem. Sometimes you can't give everybody a shine. You got to give them
if there was
due.
just an extra episode, things could have been done differently, right? But I don't know what it is, and this is I'm not off topic, but with Disney's reluctance on giving us, dude, a true 45-minute, 55-minute show, even an hour show.
The last episode
the last one was 50, but that's one episode, right? Every episode should be long, right? Really deep. Right. I mean, because like, and I know you can do a show in 30 minutes. I get even Mandalorian is very short, right? Which or even Boba Fett, which we'll get to in a second. But it's like, why did this? I mean, every other streaming service who are superior to Disney Plus, but it's not even close, gives us 55 minutes, an hour, 45. Right? The Witcher, really good show. Some episodes were an hour, and it's like I don't know why Disney.
I saw that whole season, and it was
great. Talk about next week. It was really, really good. I like that a lot. But it's okay to give us 55. Yeah. I just don't get it. I'd rather see 4 episodes an hour long than 6 episodes or 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I really do. You can, with extra 10 minutes, you can do so much per episode. Like, what's the problem? I don't understand what the issue is. Because all the shows have consistently done that. I don't understand that. Either make them longer or short the episodes and make the episodes longer, right? Give us 5 episodes and an hour.
I mean, like I think it's one of the reasons why WandaVision worked is because there was such a high number of episode count.
Well, they had 9 episodes, right? So they could explore
everything you wanted to do. That's why I had a higher episode count, and then Loki had 6 episodes, but they were close to our episodes.
I gotta go back and check.
Episode.
I don't remember that long. I don't know. I don't want to speak it.
There were each episode was between 40 to 50
I
minutes
gotta
each
check because
episode,
when
which
you
is
look
close
at
to
it,
an
it
hour as
says
you
that,
can
but the
get.
credits are like 80 minutes long. So it's weird. It's
Oh,
no, I
no,
know.
no, no, I don't count the
Loki.
credits. I'm talking like genuine, like you
Let
could.
me see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, but generally speaking, and Star Wars too, right? That's still Disney. You know.
I think that's one of the reasons why. I think one of the reasons why WandaVision and Loki were probably my two favorite Disney Plus shows for Marvel this year, because they really took the time and utilized the time given to them to tell the story they needed to tell. Everything else I feel was either they had to take things out because of post editing, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, or they didn't find their rhythm right away, like in Hawkeye. The only one that nailed it from the get to me with time and pacing was What If. But
Yeah, and I can see that being shorter because the
that's my
animated
point.
show is
I feel
kind of
like
shorter. It's fine, But either way, but yeah. So
right, exactly.
I don't give us. Don't be. It's okay. Give us a 40-minute, 45, a full 45 without credits. I don't think I'm asking too much. No one's gonna complain, right?
No
Who's
one's
gonna
gonna
say I don't
complain.
want more Star
No
Wars?
one's gonna
Hell, you
complain.
said fuck yeah, you do, right? Because that's the big complaint of
Yeah.
the first season of Mandalorian, and both in the word. It just seems so short because you want more. It was a good show. You want, dude. It's don't be
Right.
allergic
That's
to
the thing.
45 minutes,
Right.
please. Because I think it just makes the show better sometimes. Not all the time, but most shows do. And
Yeah, and the thing is, Mandalorian came out at a time where people were like slowly becoming or loudly becoming
yeah,
disinterested in Star Wars. So they hedged their bets by making these short, tight episodes because their budget wasn't there. No one is saying, I've had enough Marvel.
right,
Like,
yeah,
give me more
who's
Marvel.
gonna
So if they already
complain?
want more,
Yeah, you're right.
give
Who's gonna
them.
say no? I don't want. Of course they are, and some of these shows have needed even 10 minutes, right? This finale could have used an extra 15
Yeah.
minutes, but if it would have given us 10 minutes every episode, maybe it could have resolved the Yelena thing early or given us more of the cosmic thing early and then really paid off in the end. So actually, that was my issue with the show, and it's just I don't know. It was okay. But speaking of okay, and we both I think were on the same page with this one, and we got the first episode of Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, or the pamphlet of Boba Fett in this case, or the brochure of Boba Fett. It wasn't the book, not quite in, not yet. It's a prologue. Yeah, there is a prologue Boba Fett. So yeah, I off the bat, I think we both agree it was fine, right? Am I wrong? If I don't want to misspeak or put words in your mouth, but it was fine. It was fine.
No,
Underwhelming.
It was fine.
Wasn't great. It was okay.
Only because Mandalorian is so good that it had a bar.
Oh,
we
of course.
all
And he had
wanted
Robert
it.
Rodriguez, which we talked about before, who, this guy is that's a prolific filmmaker, but he's an established filmmaker who does really cool shit, particularly with action and all that. And he directed, one of the last couple episodes, or maybe one episode. The two? Yeah.
2 episodes.
Cool episodes, too.
The episode where Boba Fett
Yeah.
comes in hard and just starts whooping ass, like that episode did not feel like this episode. That episode felt dirty and visceral and like a struggle, and this one felt like you were just going, okay, I got it. All right, sure, cool. Like, and that's Boba Fett. Anything to Boba Fett should never feel cordial. It should feel dangerous or
little darker and grittier. Right? Am I wrong in that? Yeah.
A little darker and grittier, a little more visceral. Yeah, even when Boba Fett showed up at Empire, you didn't see him do much, but what he did was he outplayed Han, so he's smart, and he had the balls to tell Vader he's no good to be dead. Like, no one
for what he wants,
Vader just choked 3 people in this movie, and Boba Fett's like, yo, I don't know what you're doing, but I need that guy. So, like, there's a ballsiness to him, and this episode felt very much like, hey, I know you guys have been wondering how he survived the Sarlacc pit, so we're going to just tell it to you visually, but it's going to have the emotional impact of reading it on the back of a toy's
that people have been
cardboard
talking about
box.
for ages. And although we see in books they've talked about it and done much better than what the show portrayed, it's just like, okay, he's there and he breaks out. I mean, it's just that's it. This is what we're waiting for all this time. The infamous Sarlacc, him live. Okay, fine, I guess.
And it was still cool, but it didn't feel dirty enough. It didn't feel visceral
enough. There was no weight behind that scene,
like,
right?
I like how he had to take
this, and I'm out.
Right. Like, look, if you would have started just about the way it played out, if the scene would have started out, it's so simple. Black, but you hear heavy breathing. and then the camera opens up as if it's his eyes, so it's through the helmet, and you're seeing everything through his helmet, and it's like cracked, and there's slime everywhere, and you hear the breathing, and and when he looks at his hands, and then the camera cuts to the opposite shot, and it's him there. You're like, whoa, like, oh man, and maybe even show that like since it's so big, the way he's stuck, there's more underneath, so he's got to be careful the way he goes, because if he slips, he'll slide deeper into the stomach. Like, add a little depth
right,
to
some
that,
suspense,
and then you can have everything else
some
afterwards.
tension with that scene.
But once again, this episode was like what 32 minutes of like visual stuff.
Really? And there's some cool elements to it, but
there was a lot of fun stuff with it, man. The whole dynamic of how he got taken in by the Tusken Raiders was great. I loved all
cool.
that. I thought it played
could have
really
done with
well.
that 20-minute walk sequence, but whatever, fine.
Pacing issues. What it was, I like that it showed that he was. To me, I'm a big fan of westerns,
sure.
So I liked all the kind of stuff. Like, you walk until they break, and you just drag the rest of the way. But you got to see all that kind of stuff. I thought was great too. All that kind of stuff played really well. Here's the thing: is that I feel like, and I know Mando, it films with modern technology, so it's clean, but I feel like Boba almost looks too clean. And you can make Mandalorian look clean because he's in space sometimes, and sometimes he's in official settings, and sometimes he's in dirty settings. So you got to choose like a tone that kind of can play on everything. But if you're going to be in Tatooine for most of this, or at least for the first episode, it should feel a little dirty. It should feel a little bit grimy. Yeah. And they looked a little too clean. Too clean. That was aesthetically, that was my problem. And I told you, my biggest complaint, if I had to narrow down the whole problem with this episode into one shot, it's the shot where they get jumped by those energy shield guys. And as they're turning the tide of battle, Boba gets one of their batons, and he goes, ah, and he hits him in the face. And it's supposed to look really visceral and like intense because he's smashing a guy's face in. But it looked like it was filmed for like something out of a 1990s TV show. Like the face did not sell the emotion. And which is crazy because his movements in Mandalorian, and he looked, when he's hitting me with that gaffy stick, you're like, you could see the hate in his eyes, but I didn't get that on this. And I was like, well, how did that go from there? He should be just as angry.
The issue is, listen, there's a reason. Listen, this guy, he's an older guy. I get it, the actor anyway, right? He doesn't, like we see like Neo kind of struggling, Keanu Reeves,
right?
Because the choreography was off, and it was like so slow. This is exactly why you put masks and helmets, to put a stuntman to do this kind of work. Put the helmet on. I don't understand why because he just physically can't do it. It's obvious, right? He looks slow, and so the choreography is affected because of it, because he's limited to what he can do physically.
And it was crazy.
Put the helmet on.
The whole point is they took the helmet off because he's gonna go talk to the lady, and when he gets the helmet back, there's all the payoff monies inside. Right. It can real simple where she goes, yours is shinier than mine, and he just would have poured all of it into her and then put the helmet back on.
Yeah, you have to have the helmet, and I hope
simple.
And I hope they do it in the future, because if it's more fight scenes with him without the helmet, we're gonna be in trouble. I agree. It's hard. He's old. There's not knock against them. Listen, we all age. I get it, but put the helmet on, please. Mando, you don't see a Pascal kicking ass. It's some guy in his suit.
Yeah.
Some guy in his, and we're okay with that. Charlie Cox, we talked about him. He's kicking ass because he's got the face thing. We know it's not Charlie Cox doing that, right?
Yeah.
Iron Fist.
You got the close-up shots with the face, and you go like when he's punching, but everything else, it's like three of the dudes that are doing it, right?
Iron Fist failed to do that, and then that's what happens with Iron Fist. That's terrible.
That's the benefit of superhero movies. You don't have to have the main guy do everything. You got a mask, buffers, all that out, dude.
Yeah, this is almost like Kingpin. This is like a discounted version of Boba Fett, kind of, right? And how is his mood, his reaction,
and a little bit, yeah. Which sucks because his background story looked really cool. Like, so you would think it's gonna be that kind of visceralness. And I know he's playing it like smarter now because he's older. So he's like, I'm not gonna rule like Jabba, sure. Respect. And I learned a few things from hanging out with the Mandalorians, and I apply that to myself. And I get all that, but you don't fix yourself in a week. Like, you need. It's a growing pain.
And I thought, and it's like, and the one scene which undercut him, because when he fought, and I'd rather have seen the Book of the Sand person, to be honest with you, the guy who kicked his ass. Give me that book.
Oh yeah,
that, I mean, I said, that's Boba Fett getting his ass kicked by this guy. Oh, come on now. It kind of undercut who he was. It was
But
supposed
that
to
was
be
a
a badass.
girl. That
Was
was
it
a
a
girl.
girl? Well, even worse.
Yeah, it
So
was a
okay,
girl.
fine.
Yeah.
So which is fine. I mean, they kick ass, but I guess Fennec is great, and I thought she kicked ass.
Fennec's great.
But I mean, him just getting he jobbed, and like, okay, all right.
And that, and let's talk about those fight scenes, because once again, Mandalorian, there is a almost like a very gunslinger meets samurai sort of.
Yeah.
But this should feel very much like bar fighting, like even if you're assassin, it should feel like
down and
Born
dirty,
Identity.
hardcore,
Yeah,
right?
and it feels very choreographed.
Yeah,
like
it's
you
too
kick
much.
me
Yeah,
here, I do this.
Too much parkour.
And I need once again, and it's crazy when my daughter says this. She's like, my daughter said, "Is it weird that these like a lot of these live action shows don't make me feel the way that the show Arcane made me feel when it came to fighting?" Sure. Like when Arcane, it's an animated show, and animated you can do anything, and they made it super real and super low level, super.
And I think
you felt the fight.
I think some of these shows, like Cowboy Bebop, had an issue. It's a lot of style of a substance. We want hard hitting,
a lot of style,
stakes. And you have to feel those punches, right?
And I'm not trying to say that you can't have style when
you can do both,
depending on the IP.
Easy to do both.
But you also got to take into consideration what type of tone your IP is trying to set. Mandalorian, you could do gunslinging samurai stuff because he kind of fits in both those worlds.
Sure.
With Boba, it should feel westerny, but also barroom fighting.
Right? Yeah, and if you're going to give us hand-to-hand fighting, great, but you got to do it a certain way. And
make it meat.
Make it meat. Make him feel something. Put the fucking mask on, for Christ's sake. Put the helmet on, because I always say it looks bad. If you're trying to fight, it's not gonna look good. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's just not a train wreck by any stretch of the imagination. I know we're talking bad about it. It's not.
It is a Matrix. It is a 7. It is, the idea was good. I didn't like the execution.
Yes, and I think this is going to be much better. I really, because again the story lacked, but whatever, it is what it is. I wish
maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason where Robert Rodriguez stayed on for the whole series to direct this. He was originally going to direct like 6 out of like the 9, but then they cut the episode count short, and he's directing all those episodes. Yeah, 7 now. Maybe that's it. After you saw the first one, I was like, man, I got to make up for this. I got to do something.
I think it will get better because we're going to get story, right? Because right now there's no story. We don't know what's really going on here, which is why I wish they would just drop 2 episodes to kind of give us, okay, we've seen the fan service, okay, and introducing Bubba, great. But now, what are we doing with the show exactly? And he's not going around collecting coins all day, right? There's got to be something more to this. So, I wish you would have given us that extra episode to kind of like, oh, okay, I feel a little better, right? Cleanse the palate. Right?
I hope there's a scene where like the mayor, who apparently is going to be his rival for Tatooine.
So that scene's maybe, I guess. Yeah.
I hope there's a scene where like the mayor wakes up and there's like a tauntaun head in his bed. It's like
bantha right there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, this is what I want. Bantha's too big. I feel like a tauntaun fits in a bed. Bantha, you think like 6 people to put it through like a door because the horns in the way. It's a whole complicated thing.
I'll up with that. What? Oh my god, this would be the greatest show of all time. If it was just the head of Jar Jar like in the bed, I mean, that would be the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. This would also already be the greatest show of all time. Just forget it. Wrap it up. 2021 best show.
Blood is written in the wall. Misa, say you're gonna die.
Yeah, no, in blood, Gungan blood, whatever color that is. How amazing would that be? But seriously, this is gonna get better. I gotta hope so. It needs to. I think it will, because Mandalorian's so good, and maybe we're victims of comparing it, which it's normal to do, but yeah, same universe,
they're in the same universe. It's literally being spun out.
And that's the issue. You got Filoni.
There's
Filoni's
no way
involved,
not to compare it.
So it's the same people behind this. So we want the same quality. Is it Filoni?
Well, actually, it's Favreau and Rodriguez. Filoni's involved only as an executive
either way,
producer.
Favreau, who's
so maybe you need Filoni in there.
Maybe he's
too,
the missing Wachowski.
Yeah, even the missing Wachowski. That might be a term we have to do. The missing Wachowski, the going the full loop. These are all the things.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Filoni's magic touch. I don't know, because Filoni is well versed, and he's done a lot of good shit with Star Wars lore. We know that. So
if it's someone who knows how to sell Star Wars, it's Filoni.
I gotta check to see. Maybe he's involved in a couple episodes. I don't know, to be honest with you. But listen, I think it's gonna get better. It's not a good start. It's not, but there's
Yeah.
enough there. We're like, okay, there's something to chew on. There's some meat on the bone. So let's again, let's hope we don't get a Hawkeye here.
It's a. You'd be lucky to
okay.
get a Hawkeye.
The tracksuit
You'd be
mafia
lucky.
running around, you know, Tatooine, juggling. You know, God,
Perfect.
terrible
I'm in.
show.
I'm in it. So it's all Jawas. The tracksuit mafia and the Jawas. That's all it is.
Give me
That's all
the
that,
Spaceballs
so.
versions. You got me there. give us yogurt.
Fair.
You know, make this like a Spaceball kind of sequel in the world. Lone Star. God, that's a great movie. Either way, we love Mel Brooks. I miss Mel Brooks. He needs to go back to doing the sequel that never was.
They're doing History of the World, the TV series, so I'm excited about that. That's something that's coming out for this year.
Okay, I knew that. And I heard that was coming out. So.
Yeah, for
Okay,
Amazon Prime.
Again,
I think it is.
smile
Yeah,
on my face.
yeah.
So that and the Flash and Michael Keaton. So
yeah, big smile. I mean, it's Mel Brooks, History of the World. Now's the
legendary,
time.
but that's neither here nor there. Yeah,
neither here nor there. But
he's a legend.
Yeah, Mel Brooks is History of the World. It's literally one of the most underappreciated Mel Brooks comedies
fantastic.
of all time.
Yeah,
just watch that
and
and laugh your
The
ass off.
sequel that took 40 years in the making. I don't know, 50. I don't know how old that movie is. I don't have no idea. I think it came out in the 80s. I don't know. Was it for 40 years and what close to it in the making? Yeah. So bring it on. So, but either way, and then neither here nor there. We're hopeful Boba Fett gets better. We'll talk about it next week. And that is the show for today, Eric.
Oh man, what a year in review! I mean, we went a little long, but I feel like we deserved it. We had a lot of opinions, things you needed to know about, things that maybe you weren't sure of, and sometimes people are too extreme, or sometimes people are too polite, and then you need to knock around guys like me and Jose to let you know, hey, we're nerds, but let's call it what it is, and this is what it is. We still love it. We're fans of it. We just want you to be better, is what it is. And so, listen, we know we can't all be Spider-Man No Way Home. That is a very high bar to hit. We totally get it. All we're saying is you could be Shang-Chi or Suicide Squad. So apply yourself.
That's what we're saying.
Don't be Eternals. Don't be Black Widow.
Don't be Kate Bishop.
Be Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Don't
be Hawaiian shirt. And,
be Shang-Chi. Be Suicide Squad.
Polo shirt.
And if you try to be for tone, for execution, if you could be Shang-Chi, if you be Suicide Squad, you end up being Spider-Man.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, shoot for
you
the
can
stars.
Only go up.
Wasn't that a Casey?
So don't drop the ball.
Shoot for the stars, reach for the stars, whatever it's called. But something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But that has been the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you guys watching the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps us out a lot with algorithms and that kind of nonsense. Don't forget to tell people about the show. We really appreciate it as well. You can reach out to us on Instagram at NerdsplainingPod or on Twitter at Nersplaining_. Let us know what you thought about the show. Send us your opinions of what you thought about what I said. Let us know what you think we should keep our eyes out on. We always appreciate those things as well. Don't forget, if you enjoy the show, you can always check out a bunch of shows on the Latin News Network here on YouTube, where we have shows like The Watch List, where Jose talks about all the best shows that came out for the week, or Thanos' Choice, where we blip out the crappiest shows out of existence and only let one true survivor put out the example of what we think is best of this version of the thing.
We just did our
really
Christmas
fun.
special
We really
on
go
that,
at each other. Yeah.
That was a fun show. So
yeah, who would have thought Elf would have won? Me, this guy, because I nominated. So listen, that's how powerful I am. And so much, guys, if you like the show and you want to keep watching the old episodes, you can see it all here on the YouTube channel. If you want to see the original audio episodes or listen to the original audio episodes, they're all available at ericdasilva.com. It's on the landing page, all right there for your listening enjoyment. Don't forget, thank you for everyone who bought my album this year. I really appreciate it. Nerds, you are the best. I really appreciate it. Keep buying it because I still need more money. And I think something new might be coming out next year, so keep an eye out for all that kind of stuff. We got things we're working on, so I really appreciate that as well. And as always, whenever new stuff comes out for the week, me and Jose will be here to talk about it. So thank you for listening. And as always, I'm Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nersplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Happy New Year.